Hello and welcome to yet another session on dedicated essays which we have brought for you and which will help you in the upcoming APSC mains. And today's topic is on management of border disputes. Okay, today's topic is on management of border disputes, and we are going to cover the most important dimensions or some of the most important dimensions which you need to cover in this essay. Okay, and these dimensions have to be covered. So let's look at those dimensions. Okay, so first of all, you need to start. Okay, you need to start your essay by giving a proper introduction, and that introduction will include what is the meaning of border management. It is very simple. Okay, we live in 21st century, and we know that the concept of nation state. Okay, a nation state has to have borders. A nation state or a state. Okay, a nation state or a state. State means what? A country. Actually, the real word. Okay, the real meaning of a state is a country. Okay, the term which we use for state in India is not the actual term. Anyway, that's a different thing. So I'm talking about a nation state or a country. So a nation state has to have it has to have borders. And if it is having borders, it needs to manage those borders also. And if we talk about India, okay, what is the issue being highlighted here? India is having certain border disputes. Okay, India is having certain border disputes with its neighbors. Okay, India is having certain border disputes with its neighbors. For example, the border dispute which India is having with China, okay, is over what? Is over line of actual control. Okay, because the concern here is, okay, the concern here is, or the issue here is that China, okay, China, People's Republic of China or China, it has not ever recognized this as the border between India and China. Okay, India, it is only India which recognizes line of actual control as the border between India and China. Okay, and on top of that, there is something known as McMahon line also. Okay, now that is the issue which we are facing with respect to China. And India is facing another major issue. Okay, India is facing another major border issue with Pakistan, another important as well as another worrisome neighbor of India. And that issue, okay, that border issue is with respect to line of control, okay, LOC. And apart from line of control, we also have another issue with Pakistan with respect to border, that is Sir Creek. Now, how to manage all these border disputes? Now, apart from all these things, India also has certain minor border disputes even with Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. Okay, now how to solve or how to manage these border disputes? Okay, how to manage these border disputes? Now, one thing needs to be understood at the very beginning. Most of these border disputes or most of the reasons for these border disputes are rooted in history. Most of the reasons for these border disputes are rooted in history. See, if you talk about India-Pakistan border dispute, we all know where it all, started from. It all started from partition, because partition was done in such a wrong manner. Okay, partition was done in such, it was a responsibility to draw the borders between India and Pakistan was given to Sir Radcliffe. Okay, the responsibility to draw borders between India and Pakistan was given to Sir Radcliffe. And Sir Radcliffe was a total newcomer. He had no idea about the geography of these two regions. And he made the borders, or he drew the borders sitting in his drawing room. Can you imagine? So what will happen if such a person has been given the responsibility? So obviously the outcome ought to be devastating. So these are some of the reasons. Okay, these are some of the historical reasons behind the border disputes India has with some of its neighbors. So let's get started. See, historical disputes. So this has been covered already. Diverse terrains. India shares borders with diverse terrains, making it difficult to monitor. Now this, okay, point number two is, very crucial and very relevant, and it gets evident when we talk about Indo-Bangladesh bilateral relations, because the borders, okay, or the border between India and Bangladesh, okay, why India has not been able to man the border. Okay, we often hear about why has India not been able to man, okay, the kind of border which you will get to see between India and Pakistan or between India and China. Same kind of border is not Okay, same kind of border cannot be seen between India and Bangladesh. Why? Because there are certain practical problems associated with this. And what are those practical problems? Because there are certain patches, okay, certain patches are there within the border between India and Bangladesh which cannot be manned. Okay, there are certain parts which cannot be manned. For example, certain rivers are acting as a border between India and Bangladesh. So how can you put up a fence in a river? So these are certain practical problems for which we have not been able to man the border between India and Bangladesh. Okay, because of which we are facing a lot of problems. And it is not possible also because the geography is not supportive enough. Okay, you guys are getting me? So this is a very important problem. Then geopolitical considerations. Obviously, border disputes are often driven by geopolitical considerations, making it difficult to find a peaceful solution. Okay, making it difficult to find a peaceful solution. For example, China. Okay, for example, another historical reason is that, or another historical reason for for tensions. Okay, another historical reason for tensions between India and China is that China considers what? China considers Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, this is a historical reason. China considers Arunachal Pradesh to be a part of southern Tibet. Okay, you all must be knowing Tibet. So China, according to China, Arunachal is not a part of India. It is a part of what? Southern Tibet. Because as we all know, Arunachal Pradesh is an important Buddhist center. Okay, so going by that, China considers Arunachal Pradesh to be a part of southern Tibet. So that is another historical reason. Okay. Now, military involvement. Military involvement is necessary to manage border disputes, okay, which can lead to armed conflicts. Okay, you have to deploy military personnel. Okay, you have to deploy military personnel. Okay, we all know about the crisis which happened at the Doklam Plateau. Okay, we all know about that. Okay, what happened at the Doklam Plateau, and after that, matters got escalated. Okay, matters got escalated. Actually, Doklam Plateau gave us a new perspective altogether. The crisis that happened at Doklam Plateau, it gave us a new perspective. It gave us a new direction altogether as to how to manage border disputes. Okay, and senior level talks are also happening. Ever since that particular crisis, okay, India has been able to enter into an understanding with China, as per which the senior most leaders, okay, certain leaders have been made responsible to de-escalate, okay, to de-escalate matters. Then, domestic politics is also essential for managing border disputes, as politicians and parties use them to gain support and rally the public. It is very, very important. See, this is known as populist politics. That is the danger, okay, that is the danger, that is another demerit or a danger of living in a democracy. The politicians at times, just to gain the support, just to draw support from the public, they say such things, okay, they at times say such things which end up escalating matters at the borders. But why do they say those things? Even they know that nothing much can be achieved by saying those things, but they say those things mainly for political gains. Mainly for political gains, because what is the meaning of populist democracy or populist politics? When the politicians do things to please, or when the politicians, okay, when the politicians give in to the demands of the people, when they do not use their own brains, when they simply give in to the demands of the people, that is populist democracy. Or populist politics is that politics which is done only to please the people. And why is it important to please the people? Because if you are not pleasing the people, they will not vote for you in the next elections. As simple as that. Okay. So sometimes these disputes or these tensions also happen due to populist politics. See, and to manage these complex border disputes, what is the Indian government? Okay, what is the Indian government doing, or what it has done so far? We have entered into bilateral talks. Okay, we have entered into bilateral talks. Confidence building measures have also been started. Confidence building measures to reduce tensions and prevent incidents. Infrastructure development. India invests in infrastructure to monitor borders and prevent illegal activities. Okay, India has invested a lot in developing infrastructure in those areas from which it can monitor. Okay, from which it can monitor its borders effectively. For example, you guys will be surprised to know that Bogibeel Bridge and Dhola Hodia Bridge also had such objectives, because both Bogibeel Bridge and Dhola Hodia Bridge are not very far from Arunachal Pradesh, and as we know, Arunachal Pradesh shares borders with China. As we know, Arunachal Pradesh shares borders with China. So this is what I'm trying to say here. Infrastructure development. India is also giving a lot of attention to infrastructure development. Military presence, and see, India has also started a lot of diplomatic efforts. Now, what all will come under diplomatic efforts? India seeks international support to resolve border disputes peacefully. For example, India is a member of so many multilateral organizations, like for example SCO. Okay, like for example, one of the most important multilateral organizations of the 21st century. It's a, it's not a very old multilateral organization. SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Okay, it is. This organization has got some of the most important Asian members. Some of the most important Asian members like China, Pakistan, and India. So these platforms are also being used by India to resolve border disputes. Okay. For example, India is also a member of the Quad. Okay, India is also a member of the Quad, which also has US, Australia, and Japan as its members. So India also uses these platforms to resolve or to highlight the issues. Okay, India also uses the United Nations platforms at times to highlight these issues. Okay, so all these things, okay, all these things need to be covered in this particular essay, and covering all these things will put you at an advantageous position to secure good marks for your essay. Okay, thank you so much. Keep following this page.